What is up, guys? Welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, welcome to our channel. I am Kayla and I just had twin boys a month ago. I will insert a little clip of them here so you guys can see them. Look how cute you are. You love it here. All the cool colors. Oh. We think that they are just absolutely perfect. Today I'm going to be doing my month postpartum update. I did have a C-section. It went really well. I went into labor at 35 weeks and 6 days with them. They were 6 pounds 11 ounces and 6 pounds 1 ounce, so they were pretty good size for twins for being a month early. So that was super exciting, super great. Yes. So postpartum, I'm going to start kind of at like the hospital side of things and just go over like my past month and like what I've been feeling and how everything's been going for me. At the hospital, I had a really good experience. Of course, after my C-section, I was really sore. The boys were in the NICU for 5 days and I was there for 5 days. The first probably day and a half, I didn't even really see the boys. I went down there a few times, but I was pretty out of it. I definitely recommend, even if you have a regular birth, take advantage of the nursery. Like, you just went through like probably the craziest thing of your life. I know you want to be with your baby the whole time and this and that, but it's definitely better for you and for your child for you to catch up on some sleep. Like, your body just did some crazy stuff. So don't be against the nursery. Don't feel like a bad parent. Don't feel, you know, anything like that. Like, take that time, sleep. Or make your husband take a shift. I mean, he's been up as long as you, but he definitely, you know, didn't go through what you just went through, so it's crazy. So then when I left the hospital with the boys, we got to do an overnight with them at the hospital before that. Other than that, I was going down to the NICU every 2 hours to breastfeed them. It was absolutely exhausting because they would take about an hour and a half to breastfeed between the two of them because I couldn't tandem feed them, obviously. So I'd take about an hour and a half to feed them. I would go upstairs. I'd get maybe 15-20 minutes of sleep in between each feeding. So that wasn't mandatory. I did skip one feeding every night so I could get about 2 hours of sleep. And I just had the nurses feed them breast milk at that time. So that was kind of my situation at the hospital. And then when we came home, I hate to say that it was kind of easy because I do have 2 babies. But it was actually kind of easy. I mean, the hardest part is just that you don't get sleep, obviously. So they were still waking up about every 2 hours. They did for about 2.5 weeks of being home. They'd be up about every 2 hours. So that was kind of hectic, but it was easy. I mean, I would feed them. They'd take about an hour to eat, and I would try to get about 45 minutes of sleep in between each feeding. Matt would take a couple feedings in the morning and give me kind of a little bit of a break where I could, you know, get a couple hours of sleep and then we'd be good to go. I haven't checked my weight since probably 2 weeks postpartum. 2 weeks postpartum, I was down 40 pounds. I did gain 70 pounds during my pregnancy, so I was down 40 pounds already after 2 weeks postpartum. I do need to check and I'll update you guys on that again. I just don't have a scale here at the house, so I'll check soon. I go back to the doctor, I think the 2nd week of September, so I'll get back to y'all on that. After that, the boys now are sleeping anywhere from 3 to 3.5 hours in between each feeding. I've been trying to keep them up more during the day because they are able to stay up for a little bit longer. So that has been nice. I've been getting at least 2-hour stretches of sleep, which is beautiful. And I do take like naps with them throughout the day and stuff too, in between getting stuff done here at the house, of course. Matt is now back at work. Today was actually his first day back, which is super weird, and like, I don't know how to explain it other than like, it's just kind of like lonely here. Like, yeah, the boys are here, but like, they're babies, they're boring. They eat, sleep, poop, repeat. So yeah, whatever. So that's been kind of weird. I've just been trying to find like odd things to do around the house. I would say now at a month postpartum, I am starting to feel a little bit more like myself. Obviously, I'm not down to where I was before I was pregnant, like size-wise or weight-wise or anything like that, but I'm feeling so much better. One rough thing postpartum I did kind of have to deal with is it was probably 2.5 weeks postpartum, and I started to get a really bad fever. I was so cold and I couldn't figure out why. At first I was like, oh, maybe it's something to do with my incision or my C-section, so I was kind of worried. We were actually up in a hotel the first couple weeks of having the boys, which made things really hard because there was some plumbing issues here at our condo that they had to fix. So that was crazy, having newborns and not being home, and just so much crazy stuff going on for us those first couple weeks. So we were in the hotel and I checked my temperature and I think I was at 100.4. So I was like, oh, it's not, you know, crazy high. It's just kind of like a low grade fever. Like, I'll be fine. They told me anything over 100.5, I needed to go back to the hospital because it's obviously, you're at risk for infection after a C-section and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, I'll just try and sleep it off. Like, maybe it's just like a little bug or something like that. Whatever. So then I woke up at 5 a.m. and I checked my temperature again and I was at 104 degrees. I also feel like somebody punched me in my right boob. So I was like, oh, it's probably something to do with that. It's probably not anything to do with my incision, which was a super big weight off my shoulders. However, it was a Saturday morning, so I did go to the ER because my doctor was not going to be open for a while. And I didn't feel like 104 degree fever is something I should just ignore, and I didn't really know like what could have been going on. I knew there was obviously something wrong, but I didn't know what it could have been. I'm a first-time mom, so it's kind of news to me. I did actually watch KK and Baby J's video when she got mastitis, so I was like, maybe it is that. Maybe it's something, you know, along those lines. So I went to the ER, and when I got there, they checked my heart rate, blood pressure, fever, and all that kind of stuff. When they did the fever thing on me, all the device said was high. It wouldn't even give them like a temperature at that point. And then my heart rate was at 138 beats per minute. So they actually took me straight back instead of making me wait, and they brought me into trauma, and they were trying to get my heart rate down and my fever down. When they finally got my fever to a point where they could check it, it was 103.9. So they put the temperature in the room that I was in down to 50 degrees. 50 degrees. I'm sitting there with a fever. I'm already feeling cold because of the fever, and I felt like I was dying from it. Like, oh my gosh, I was freezing. I was shaking like crazy. They didn't bring me a blanket or anything like that because they were trying to like get my temperature down. They started 2 IVs right away. They did a CAT scan just to be sure that it was nothing internal, like also with, you know, having my C-section, and I did in fact have mastitis, so that was fun. They gave me antibiotics. It did not clear up. So following when I left the hospital, it'd be about every 2 days I would just out of nowhere get super cold, have the chills, and I would be bedridden for, I mean, anywhere from 2 to 6 hours that I just wasn't able to do anything. So my doctor recommended that I do stop breastfeeding because it was, my body was not kicking it on its own while breastfeeding, and that it was just safer for me to start feeding them formula. I was already supplementing with formula, so it wasn't something foreign to them because my milk supply was not able to feed 2 children. So they already were used to formula, but I had to switch completely to it, which was kind of a bummer, kind of a little kick to the heart, but I have to do what's best for me and my babies, and obviously me being healthy is better for them in the long run. So that's kind of the big thing I've been dealing with. Other than that, everything postpartum for me has been pretty easy. I am still bleeding even at a month postpartum, but it's not like, you know, a full-blown period bleed. It's just like a little bit of spotting here and there, and that's been going on for like 2 weeks. I only really bled for about those first 2 weeks, so that's been kind of cool. I will show you guys my stomach. I am not at all self-conscious about my stretch marks. Like, I had twins. I'm not, whatever. I'm more self-conscious about the loose skin that I have. I know it's gonna take time. It took 9 months for my body to get this as big as it did to carry the twins, so I know it's going to take time. However, I hate it. But I will show you guys quick, just so you can have a little body update. So, quite a bit of extra skin here. I have like a little flap, like a C-section flap. But for carrying twins, I don't think I look too crazy. So, that's that. High-waisted is life right now. But yeah, that's pretty much everything that's been going on with me after the boys. The mastitis has probably been like the biggest issue for me. Everything else has been pretty good. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any other questions, like I said, we do plan on doing a Q&A, so leave them down in the comment section below. We'd be happy to answer them for you guys. We love you so much.